Hey guys, here I am. What took me so long? I'm not sure. Anywho, last night stayed up until midnight. Got a late night football game, and we had to do what we had to do. I realized things are looking a little bit strange here, right? And you don't see my full screen because my head is in the way. So I'm gonna get that the video capture collapsed. Let's see if that can work. There you go. Now you might be wondering what the heck am I doing? Well, what the heck I'm doing is I've seen all these rating videos. I said, why don't we rate some of the um, core ASL modules? And notice I said some because this is only a portion of them. So before I go any further, keep in mind that this is my opinion, and your perspective might be different than mine. So in no way am I discouraging you from purchasing a module if you are curious and interested in that theater of war. Um, and if you do agree with me, so be it. Um, so it's a very subjective video. Okay. So with no further ado, let's get to it. The first module I want to rate would be Beyond Valor. Right here, as you can see, it is sold out. Unfortunately, I realize that the business model for war games is um, something on very tight and expensive budgets, and people have to take into account inventory costs, storage costs, and uh, and demand, I suppose. So it's sold out. It's listed on the MMP site for $132 American. Maybe we can do a little inventory as well of how much everything would cost. So, um, listen, if you like something and you have the money, cost is not an object, but in terms of quality and the fun factor, I would rate Beyond Valor as a number one, and it's listed at 132 bucks. Okay, so this is too let's put the cost here somewhere here. 132 bucks US. Not that it matters. So in terms of the fun factor, the historical value, because this is one of the first modules that dates back way back when the whole game started, and I've played most of the scenarios in Beyond Valor. I own Beyond Valor, and there are some modules that I don't own. But I'll rate them anyway because I had the opportunity to play some scenarios from the um, given module. So fun factor is an A. Um, Replayability is an A as well. In addition, I found that Beyond Valor, the latest edition, also has updated scenarios and scenarios that are excellent for beginners. So I rate that a solid A. It's unfortunate that it's sold out, but again, I'm not going to tell MMP how to conduct their business. I have no clue as to what it takes to become successful in wargaming business. I certainly haven't designed my own wargame. I've designed some scenarios for starter kit. So, um, for those of you that are looking to buy Beyond Valor and you're lucky enough to find it at a reasonable price, hey, I would recommend it. Now, notice that I have A, B, C. I don't have D, I don't have E or F because I would rate all the modules as a buy if you can afford them again. If you can't, hey, you have to get a second job, a bigger home, all of that jazz. So there's no failures here. It's just my personal opinion, and Take it for what it's worth. All right, so let's go on to the second module. Now, I own Beyond Valor and I own Yanks, and I would rate Yanks an A as well. Reason being is who doesn't like the Yankees? Who doesn't like the GI and how it's encapsulated in squad leader, in advanced squad leader? Um, the fun factor there is, look, you got squads that have a morale of 6, but they rally on a broken morale of a number higher. It's around 8. Um, it deals with the Western Front and a couple of other theaters of war, I suppose. I'm not sure now offhand. I remember Normandy being, you know, a key feature in Yanks. And uh, look, I am in Canada. I am a fan of the U.S. Army historically. So, as it pertains to World War II, Korea, and Vietnam, so it was my pleasure to acquire Yanks and play scenarios in the pack. Um, let's go for King and Country. King and Country. I would rate that an A because, again, I like playing the British. And I like a lot of the uh, period points in time through World War II where the British uh, fought. So they fought in Normandy, they fought in in Market Garden, they fought in the Balkans, and they also fought in North Africa. The Balkans being Greece in particular, Sicily, Italy, um, and the northern flank when the second front was opened in Europe from the west. And interesting array of weaponry, interesting array of troops and leaders. Um, some of the early war scenarios where the panzers they don't have enough armor to take on panzers are also very challenging. So for King and Country, I rate that an A. Now, let's go to Armies in Oblivion. Take care of some of the hard stuff. So currently, Armies of Oblivion are in pre-order. Uh, I have a hard time. Um, I have a hard time uh, with liking Armies of Oblivion. It's like the food where you have to get an acquired taste to like it, I suppose. Now, um, given that, you know, how do you play scenarios where the Romanians, let's say, uh, come into play, or the Hungarians? And the reason why these two nationalities come to my mind is because in Cross of Iron, the Romanians were figured prominently, at least in one scenario, which was a classic that I can play endlessly over and over again. I think it was the capture of Balta or the penetration of Balta. I forget the exact name. So you actually need this um, module if you're going to play the Axis Miners. However, I've also come across some scenarios that were not that fun. So it's a toss up, but I'm sure that folks that are interested in Armies of Oblivion would probably rate everything an A. Probably rate this as an A, and they're probably looking forward to getting this module. And when I'm looking at the MMP site, a lot of the core modules are either in pre-order or available. Very few are sold out for the first time in a long time. And for those of you that are interested in all theaters of the Second World War, Korea, and everything else, um, go for it. If you have the budget, go for it. Hello, Legions. Let's go with Hello Legions. Okay, Hello Legions. I do rate it a B. Okay, and it's not for a bad reason. It's not for a bad reason, other than I think that um, in Squad Leader, the Italians get a bad rap. Um, and more work can be done to enhance that module. You know, it's hard to explain. It's hard to explain. At one point or another, I was saying to myself, you know, I am not getting um, this module, and I changed my mind and I picked Hollow Legions over Armies of Oblivion, in large part due to budgetary constraints. But uh, in addition, it also covers some theaters of war that I'm interested in, that being, North Africa, Sicily, Italy, the Balkans, the southern part of the European theater. Um, I think I might do some research with how the Italians fared in the Eastern Front in Russia and how they contributed to the war, you know, and maybe start working on some scenario designs of my own. So, by magic, I also included Doom Battalions, or the latest edition of Doom Battalions. Um, Croix de Guerre. Croix de Guerre isn't that bad. Now, I don't own the module, okay? And recently I got myself in a lot of hot water saying that the French counter should be colored white. Um, no harm intended. No disrespect to French people intended here, because okay, the joke is that the white counters are the folks that surrendered, and the French and the French did fight valiantly, and the Free French as well were instrumental in contributing to the war effort against the Nazis, the Axis. And in addition to that, I believe there were some um, Greek forces that also joined the Free French um, as elites to fight in long range patrols in North Africa and other areas. So, not good to knock on the French. However, oh, back in old squad leader, a red counter would signify somebody that is berserk. I'm not too sure now how they're signified at advanced squad leader. I play mostly on vassal. I think we have a counter for berserk status as well. But you know, there is overuse of the blue color, I suppose, and maybe the white color. I don't know. Anywho, I don't own the module for Croix de Guerre, but I played a couple of scenarios that were indeed fun, especially when you have this heavy armor and you're using the heavy armor ahistorically, because if the French had a good armor doctrine, they would have probably beat back the the Panzers that were lightly armored and more maneuverable. Um, so I did play some scenarios from Croix de Guerre at a competitive level at a tournament, and you know, I gained an appreciation of how these scenarios can work uh, in order to award a good player with a historical results, meaning that okay, you apply a different doctrine to these units and you play them well, you could win and alter on cardboard the course of history. There you go. So I'll give it a B. Okay. Uh, Italians. we're talking about the Polish and the Greek, so obviously I'm biased beyond belief. Um, but at the same token, I've played scenarios with respect to Doom Battalion, and some of these scenarios originate from Crescendo of Doom in the original scenario, from the original pack, and from the general scenarios published in the general. And I was happy to get that because, listen, as much as I love the Advanced Squad Leader rule set, um, what I first started with, I came from the tradition of Squad Leader, classic Squad Leader, owning two of the four modules, and I had fun playing those scenarios. I did, in playing those scenarios extensively, found some absurdities in that rule set. Not that Advanced Squad Leader is not without them as well, but compared to the classic, the advanced rules are more ironed out. And and then what I lost by going to the advanced level was, okay, now how do I play all those scenarios that were the joy of my life, more or less, or the joy of my gaming life. And basically what I found out was I had to acquire certain sets, um, core modules, and scenario packs. And then, in large part due to Jim Stoller, I could play those scenarios that were awesome with the new set. And Jim Stoller was instrumental in converting the classic scenarios to Advanced Squad Leader. Um, yeah, so the last module I'm going to rate is Rising Sun. And like I said before, they're not, this is not the entire set. And I just did not put the cost in the cost sheet yet. So the costs again maybe are not significant in terms of how I feel about the scenarios, but I guess I started writing down the cost because uh, ultimately I wanted to show you that acquisition of all these modules comes at a great cost. And I'm sure you know that already. So to keep the video short and sweet, um, I decided to let's delete this thing and that $132 there. This yes. Delete. Okay, ASL rating. Back to ASL and back to Rising Sun. So Rising Sun, again, I do not own it, but I had the privilege of playing some scenarios from the Rising Sun and reading Chapter G um, in the I guess what I like to read off of is paper, so it's the paperback copy of it, and this is somewhere between a B and a C, okay, somewhere between a B and a C because um, Chapter G has a section with respect to landing craft and beaches and beaching and all that stuff that is a little bit overbearing and taxing in terms of rules and remembering the rules there. Um, However, in terms of B, it does add the U.S. Marines. It does add historical battles that I'm interested in terms of Guadalcanal. Uh, but not sure if I could um, play accurately some scenarios that involve caves and beach landings and amphibious assaults. And then I said to myself, we wait until chapter G as in George to get landing craft. How does one go from trying to play a Normandy amphibious assault scenario in with Yanks? How does that come about by having to read chapter G uh, and getting an acquisition of those items relating to amphibious vehicles, all over to there. You know, it's a bit overbearing in terms of juggling the rules. Um, maybe maybe also I would mention the fact that the Japanese in some instances can seem to be unstoppable, um, and hard to eliminate. But I don't know. Mixed feelings about Rising Sun. I did not acquire it. Did play some scenarios with folks that do own Rising Sun. Am I saying don't buy it? Nope. Um, Certainly not saying that. That's how I feel. It's very subjective, like I said before. Um, in your case, you might, there are a lot of people out there that probably would rate it an A, especially if you like the Pacific Theater and Jungle Warfare. And in terms of Jungle Warfare and terrain, that in itself is a great asset. Yeah. So guess I can turn back my camera, my video capture, and maybe even let's see if I can move myself magically to there. Whee! There you go. That's my perspective, folks, and I just did another 20-minute video. I know I went from comparing certain rule sets and giving you tips and tricks um, on to hit examples and whatnot to rating these core modules. And like I said before, I'm not rating all the modules because um, my collection is still quite small. It's still quite small, but it still has a 40. I still have items in a 45 liter vat here, plastic vat, and things are spilling over. Um, but you can imagine if I had all the modules, I'd be really over my head. I still have to work on sorting some of my other stuff, so gotta be a bit honest and let you know this is what I got. This is how I feel about it. This is what I experienced so far, and I know I'm just scratching the surface. My opinion, my 2 cents. Um, and if you have a different opinion, I'd like to hear it. And um, let's be respectful. And if I find your opinion interesting, I'll post it below in the comments and I'll pin it. That's all I can say. So with that said, hey, we went starting the year to from around 920 or 900 subscribers to now 954. And all I could say is keep it going because that's my Patreon. My Patreon is when people, share the link to this channel, like and subscribe, and I'll keep doing my best to give you content. And up here in Canada, it is Canadian Thanksgiving. I will be spending some time with the boys doing something else than wargaming. And I might bring you a second video. Other, if I don't, it'll be one video a week. On the weekend. So that's that. Thanks everyone for watching this video. Thank you so much. I'm really blessed to have a great audience. Like and subscribe. See you later.